Hi there, welcome to 6th, 7th and 8th channel of BYJU'S. I'm your teacher Ankita, and in today's class we will be discussing about a very interesting chapter, and the name of the chapter is Reproduction in Plants. It's the crash course, right? And it's for your examination. We know that your examination just around the corner, so we are making sure that you are all exam ready. So in today's class, we will be discussing about this chapter just under 20 minutes. So please make sure you have your notebook and your pen so that you can note down all the important points that we'll be discussing. Apart from that, if you're new here and if you have seen the video for a very first time, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button, because on this channel only we have amazing sessions for all of you that will be helping you to ace your examination. We have complete chapter summary. We have chapter just under 20 minutes, a very quick summary of the whole chapter. We have different types of questions that will be helping you in terms of the different questions. We have subjective and the objective questions. We have exam hacking under 1 minute, and we have BYJU'S mock test paper. So please make sure to subscribe to this channel and go through the videos that will be helping you in your examination. On that note, let's get started. Now in this particular chapter, we'll be discussing about the reproduction in plants. Let's first understand what is reproduction. So reproduction is a process, a very easy process, where we'll be seeing the producing of the offspring, and these offspring will be biologically or genetically similar to their parent organism. This is really very important. And over here we have the definition of reproduction, and it's for 1 mark. Can easily come for the 1 mark question. So now we know that what is reproduction. So reproduction is a process of producing offspring that are biologically or genetically similar to the parent's organism. So that's a very easy thing for all of us to remember. Now reproduction can be categorized into 2 broad categories: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Let's discuss about these, because this is also a very important question from the exam point of view. So here we have, it involves one single parent. So in asexual reproduction, there's only involvement of one single parent, whereas in sexual reproduction, we have 2 parents. Then next important point, the difference between these two. In asexual reproduction, there's no gametes are involved, and over here, gametes are involved. And the main difference that we have between the asexual and the sexual reproduction is that we will see the variation in the sexual reproduction because there's a mixing of the genetic material, whereas in asexual reproduction, the organism, right, that are produced, right, will be very identical to their parent. So we will not see much of the variation there. So this particular question, difference between the asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction, can come for 3 marks in the examination, or for 2 marks also. So please make sure you write this in, you make a tabular column, write it in points, and of course you can mention the example also, that okay, asexual reproduction seen in amoeba and sexual reproduction seen in humans, and other examples we can definitely write over here. So this is how you can write this answer in your examination. Now that we are clear about the sexual reproduction, asexual reproduction difference, now we are clear about the reproduction also, let's take a deeper look at the asexual reproduction. So asexual reproduction is a mode of reproduction in which new organism or new offspring is produced by a single parent. So over here we have an example of amoeba. So over here we have amoeba, and we have just one single cell amoeba. It's a unicellular organism. From the amoeba, which is unicellular organism, we will see the division happening. First, of course, we'll see the division of the nucleus. Along with that, after some time, we will see the division of the cytoplasm, and eventually we will see the formation of 2 daughter cells. So we can say that from one amoeba, we at the end will have 2 daughter cells. So 2 daughter cells are produced by one amoeba. So we heard it is the asexual reproduction. So do remember the example. In that also we have different types. So let's discuss about the different types of asexual reproduction. We have vegetative propagation, spore formation, fragmentation, and budding. So in this particular chapter, as we know that we are discussing about the reproduction in plants, and now we are discussing about the asexual reproduction in the plants. So let's take a look over here. First one that we're discussing is the vegetative part, right? We will be discussing about the vegetative propagation, but let's understand what this vegetative propagation is related to. So in plants, we have different parts, right? We have leaves, stem, roots, and we have fruits and flower. So fruits and flower are the sexual parts, right? And the leaf, stem, and root are the vegetative part of a plant. Now, when a plant can produce by the vegetative parts like stem, leaves, root, we call that reproduction as a vegetative propagation. So basically in asexual reproduction we have a type which is vegetative propagation, where the vegetative parts of a plant will be helping us in the generation of a new organism. So now we are clear with that. So here we have the definition of vegetative propagation. So vegetative propagation is an asexual method of reproduction that occurs in its leaves, roots and stem, and over here we have all of these parts. So this will be helping us in the production of the new plants. Over here we have. Let's discuss about it, and now we will be going into the detail and we'll be discussing about root, stem and leaf. So over here when we discuss about the roots, here we have a very easy and super important example. So over here we can see, right, this is a root right over here, and slowly what we'll see the modification, right? We'll see the formation of a bird, and this bird will be able to generate into the new plant altogether. So over here we have a sweet potato, right? We can see a growing bird, and over here we have a new plant. So we have a sweet potato, and of course we have the carrot also. These are the examples. Please make sure you remember the examples because that will be helping you in the examination. And this is how we'll see the vegetative propagation through roots. Now let's talk about the stem. Stem over here, we have potato over here, the easiest example for all of us to remember. We'll see the formation of a bird, and from that we'll have a new plant altogether. So over here, so we have a modified stem, we'll have the growing bird, and after that we will have a new plant. So potato, onions are the example of the vegetative propagation through stem. And then last but not the least, vegetative propagation through leaves. So over here we have a beautiful amazing plant which is the bryophyllum, or the other example over here is begonia, right? And of course they'll have these small leaflets, small plants which are there at the edges of the leaf, and once they drop we'll see the formation of a new plant. So as of now we have discussed about the vegetative propagation through the stem, through the leaf, through the roots. Now let's discuss about another method that we have. Now we usually see this method happening in rows. So we can easily propagate the rows by cutting it. So by cutting the branch of it, we can easily actually make multiple copies of a plant. So over here we have a rose, right? And if we cut the stem and we will add into the soil, right? And after some time we'll see a new rose plant. So of course we call this technique as a stem cutting, and it's a very easy technique for all of us to remember, and commonly used at our house, at our homes also, at our house also, in nurseries. That's how we'll have the different varieties and different types, and a good amount we have the roses. So now we are clear with this also. Now let's move ahead and let's discuss about the very interesting spore formation. Now this is very important from the exam point of view, so please make sure you keep a note of this. So it is observed in the fungi, and fungi bred more of the rhizopus. So over here this is a plant, right? And of course when we look at the structure, they have the spores which are present inside the sporangium. So once the sporangium will burst open, it actually have the spores, and as it releases spores, if these spores fall on a moist surface, they'll be able to grow into the new organism. So that's how the reproduction occurs. So over here we have the sporangia contains the spores, and after that, right, these spores will be developing into the rhizopus when they found a moist surface, and that's how the reproduction occurs. So here a very important question of the spore formation. Furthermore, if you have to see this, right, we see this in a plant which is in ferns also. So in ferns we have on the leaves they have the spores, right? And once these leaves, the spores which are there on the leaf fall on the soil, they will be able to grow up. They will be able to grow into a new plant. Easy, right? So do remember the example of the spore formation apart from the fungi we see in the fern plant also, right? This is really very important for all of us to remember also. So after that, we have one more plant which is the moss. So over here also we can see, right, the spores are present, and if these spores fall, and of course they'll be able to grow a new plant. So again a good example for all of us to remember. So as of now we have discussed about the vegetative propagation, we have discussed about the stem cutting, and just now we have discussed about the spore formation. Moving ahead, we have the easiest type in asexual reproduction that occurs in plants, which is the fragmentation. Now fragmentation in plants, of course over here we have an example of the Spirogyra. Now what happens over here, it just breaks into many fragments, and each of these fragments will develop into a new individual. So here breaking up into those many fragments, and each fragment will develop into a new organism. So over here we have. So this is a very good example of the fragmentation, and please to make sure to remember the example name, right? So this question can easily come for 2 marks in your examination. Now, after the fragmentation, let's quickly discuss about the budding. Now, budding we see in yeast. Now, budding is a very easy process, and what happens over there? So, we have the parent yeast. Slowly, we'll see the formation of a bud over here. Growth of a bud is happening. Now, we can see the nuclear division happening over here. The bud will undergo the maturation. And upon its maturation, right, we'll see a formation of a chain also, and eventually we'll see the detachment of the bud, and we have a new individual. So this is how the budding occurs in the yeast, and that's how the yeast reproduce. So we have discussed about quite in detail about the different modes of asexual reproduction used by the different plants. Now, we'll be moving ahead and discussing about the sexual reproduction, which we see in plants, and of course, in plants, the sexual reproduction occurs with the help of flower. So we'll be discussing about the flower, and let's get started. So before we get into let's quickly discuss about the structure of a flower. So the flower that we have over here has both male and female reproductive organs. We call such flowers as the bisexual flower. Let's quickly discuss about the basic important parts or the essential parts of a flower. So we have the sepal, we have petals, then we have stamen, which includes anther and filament, which are the male reproductive part, and then in the female we have stigma, style, ovary and ovule, which combined together called as the pistil or as the carpel. So the stamen and the pistil are the reproductive parts, right, that are present in the flower. In this particular case, the flower that we have over here is a bisexual flower. Now we have a unisexual flower where either only one reproductive organ will be present, either the male or the female. Now that we are clear about the structure of a flower, I'm sure we'll be able to understand about a very, very important term that actually help in the transfer of the gametes, and that is pollination. Now pollination is nothing but a very important process by which we will see the transfer of the pollen grains from one flower to another flower. Now, here we have 2 important cases. If the pollination occurs only on the same flower, pollen grains, right, from a same flower, from the anther, comes to the stigma of the same flower, we call it as self-pollination. That is self-pollination. But if the pollen grains from the anther of one flower travel to the stigma of another flower, we call it as the cross-pollination. So these 2 types of pollination we have over here. And please make sure you remember the definition, because it's also really very important from the exam point of view. So it can come for 2 marks in your examination. Now we are clear about the structure of a flower. We are clear about the pollination. Now, as we just discussed that there are different types of flower, and over here we have a bisexual flower, which have the both male and female reproductive system or the organs altogether. So over here we have, right, we have pea and China rose. This is really very important for all of us to remember. And over here we have a few more examples. And over here we have the pollination definition. Please do take a screenshot of this so that you can easily recall in your examination. I'll just move aside and you can take a screenshot. Now we're done with the pollination. Now let's discuss what will be happening after the pollination is done. So once the transfer of pollen grains happens to the stigma, we see the formation of a pollen tube. This pollen tube will be formed in the style, and in that pollen tube will have the male gamete that will be moving towards the ovule where the fusion will occur, and we call that process as the fertilization. So fertilization is nothing but the fusion of the male and female gamete, and after the fertilization we will see the formation of zygote. So over here we have the pollen grains and over here we have the stigma. Inside this style we'll see the formation of the pollen tube. This is really very important from the exam point of view. So please make sure you remember that. The definition of fertilization can come for 1 mark. So please make sure you have a note of that. Then let's move ahead. What will happen over here? Let's quickly take a look over here. So we have the tomato plant and we have tomato flower over here. Male and female gamete, and after that we'll see the formation of the zygote, and eventually this will grow into the fruit that we have over here. So we can say that the quick summary of the reproduction, the sexual reproduction in plants, we can say that first, of course, we'll see the very important process, which is the pollination. Then we'll see the fertilization, and at the last we'll see the formation of the fruit. Now this is the steps that we have, right? And I hope that you have taken a note of it. Now let's move ahead and let's discuss about something really very important, which is the seed dispersal. Now there are times when the seeds are there, right, and they cannot move. We know that plants cannot move, so they need a medium, or they need an agent that can actually help in the movement of a seed from one particular part to another part, right, where the fertilization process can take place, and ahead more, right, not just the fertilization process and how they spread throughout. Okay, so the seed of course will be formed at the end, and it is the result of the fertilization process. So for the seed dispersal, of course, we have various adaptations that we see in the plants, and over here we have different types of agents. Like we have the agent like wind, water, and animals. So when this happens, right, what happens? The seeds, right, get transported away from the parent plants, and they ensure the germination, the survival of some of the seeds to the adult plants. So let's see how the seed dispersal occurs. By the wind, right, of course, the seeds which are getting dispersed by the wind have to have certain adaptations so that they can move along with the wind. So first of all, they have to be really very light, right? Then of course they have to be wing seeds so that they can easily float along with that. And of course they have the hairy seeds. So this is really very important. So these are the important things, right, that we have. Then let's talk about the other mode also. So apart from the wind, we have water. Of course, one of the easiest common example that we can remember about the floating seed is coconut. And then in the animals, of course, we have the spiny seeds, right? So various animals also help in the seed dispersal. So these seeds that will be getting transported with the help of the animals will have a structure like this, so that they can stick on the animal fur and they can move, right? And of course, they'll be moving to the different parts. So the seed dispersal method is really, really very important. So we have discussed about each and everything, and after the seed dispersal, what we'll see the germination process. So the seed, when get a right amount of the conditions, right, right amount of water, moisture, nutrient, it will be growing in a plant. And when it starts germinating, right, we'll see the formation of the roots and slowly the stem, and eventually a plant will be big enough, right? So this is the end step, right? And after that, of course, the whole cycle will get repeated again. So this is how the reproduction occurs in the plants. So I hope that all of you have taken note of all the important points that we have discussed. And if you have enjoyed the session, please make sure to hit the like button. And if you have gotten each and everything that we have discussed, please make sure to write the answers. So in the description box, we have the link where we have discussed the question, right? So please make sure you attend the test, and we will be discussing about those answers in the upcoming classes. So please make sure about that. Apart from that, we have some interesting news for all of you. We have these amazing examinations which are happening. Please make sure you take part in that. Then, as we always tell you, that BYJU'S have got you covered, and please take a moment and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends. We'll be meeting really very soon. Till that time, do take care of yourself and keep on learning with BYJU'S.